Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to another edition of Perspective with me, Julie Ali. Lovely to be back. And of course, we're hoping and praying, inshallah, everyone had a very Mubarak Ramadan and a wonderful Eid day with loved ones. Of course, this is our third program after the month of Ramadan, but we're still in the spirit of the Mubarak month of Ramadan and just the feeling of togetherness that we experienced with our loved ones. But we're now looking in anticipation to the Mubarak days of Hajj, and going forward, undoubtedly, we're going to be talking lots about Hajj. We also have issues around Election Day, Freedom Day, and a whole host more. But we here at Hilaal TV will be bringing you up to speed with all of those important events in our calendar. But on the show today, I have an amazing young lady. Her name is Faiza Xaba. She is the executive managing director, or is it CEO? Let's just check with her. I think it is executive managing director of a non-profit organization based on the East Rand in Johannesburg. The organization is called Siafunda. It was started off many years ago as a non-profit by an amazing man. And I think people in the Greater Gauteng area will know who I'm referring to when we talk about Brother Smiley. Faiza is in studio. She's going to tell us all about him and her journey as to how she got here to Siafunda and ended up becoming the executive managing director of the non-profit called Siafunda. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me here. It's such an honor to be here as one of the youth to share my experience, my journey with the viewers at home. And it's 50-50 today. There's lots of emotion running through from my journey.
I'm aware of it. I'm aware of the emotions. Alhamdulillah, Allah grant Brother Smiley the highest stages in Jannah. And the last time, many years ago, when I hosted Smiley, Brother Smiley, on my show way back, I think at that time it was ITV, we spoke about Siafunda and you were along with him. And I think he's opened many doors for many youth in our country, disadvantaged youth. Sadly, he passed away a couple of months ago. You were devastated at the time when I spoke to you, and I have no doubt in my mind that you sit here in the studio with me this morning with very mixed emotions. So welcome as the Executive Managing Director of Siafunda. Did this come as a surprise to you after Smiley passed away that you are now going to be holding the reins and taking this company forward?
It's actually a funny journey because 4 years ago, I had the opportunity of being appointed as a manager. I knew nothing at all at that time, but because of the dedication and keenness for me to learn and take up a new challenge, I went in under his mentorship, learning how to manage people, manage projects. And 2 years ago, we introduced what we call executive managers. So then I hadn't used the title director, right? I always like to keep it low profile. And every time we go to a meeting, he'd always say, no, you should tell them you're the executive director at Siafunda. And last year, we had the opportunity to be part of the Digital Equity Accelerator Program, which was happening in South Africa, Malaysia, and other countries. So 3 countries. And in South Africa, there's 3 non-profit organizations that were selected. They did the application and they said, you're going to be the face of this program. That's where I got to master most of the skills that I had. The last 2 years, Mr. Smiley was just around more of like just a confirmation type of a person. Uncle, we never used to call him boss or sir. We used to always refer to him as uncle. So whenever you need like advice or guidance on something, send him a WhatsApp message, send him an email, or you just need feedback on just a few slides on a presentation, he'd just be doing that. And for the 2 years we've been running Siafunda, and he's just been there. And I can proudly say he's trained us, though it's certain days I still need a lot more of his mentorship, his guidance. And there are certain times I feel like I wish I could just call him and ask him, what do I do here? But now we just have to work as a team to take Siafunda to the next heights, because he started a great foundation, a great organization that is helping underserved communities in rural and township communities of South Africa. And we need to continue with his legacy and continue the work that he started over the years.
Subhanallah, tell us a little more about this amazing man. He passed away a few months ago. I know you were absolutely shattered. So was everyone at Siafunda. So let's understand who was this great man, and then we'll talk about Siafunda, the organization, the nitty-gritty of what you do at Siafunda.
So to talk about Mr. Smiley, this is a really tough one. Even when we did the first tribute after his passing, it was very difficult. But he was a great man. He was an inspiration. For me personally, I didn't take him as a boss. He was all-in-one. You know, when we say an all-in-one package, he was a father, he was an uncle, he was a friend, he was a best friend, he was a lawyer, he was an all-in-one package that you need as a person.
Sometimes, an amazing human being.
You'd need guidance to say, okay, uncle, I just came into computers because I came across your phone and the work that you do, and that inspired me. But I'm not really sure what is it that I need to do or what I need to take on in terms of the career space. And it'd sit down with you and say, so IT is very vast. So you need to see what works for you. Are you more technical? Are you more admin related? So I started off as, I like just talking a lot because I talk a lot. So I started off, I'm like, I have a passion in training. So maybe because I've done computers with Siafunda, I can then nurture my passion of training and train computer skills. And I started there. Over the years, as time went by, we had a lady that was managing our social media, and she left because she had found another opportunity. And he used to always say, he never used to get angry when someone leaves, but he used to say, Siafunda is a stepping stone in everyone's journey. Be it you're in a community, be it you're the staff of the organization, but it's a stepping stone of your career. Not everybody is going to sit at Siafunda their whole life. You're going to grow, and the need arises for you to leave a company even though you love it so much. And he never got mad at that. And he said, no, can you manage our social media? Clueless about social media, not a social media person. I said, just scroll your Instagram and everything, but not posting. And he said, you're going to manage Siafunda's organization, social media. And I took it like, I don't even know how to design. Number one, coming up with captions, I didn't know. And at that time, because I was still learning, I felt like, no, Uncle Smiley is just throwing me into the deep end. And only to find that him throwing me in the deep end, it's just to get the creativity out of me, get me to think out of the box, get out of my comfort zone. And instead of just saying, here's a bottle of water, have it. But he'll tell you there's a bottle of water somewhere. When you find it, drink it. So that's how he mentored us to be where we are today. And I'm grateful for that.
How did you come across Uncle Smiley and Siafunda? You were unemployed at the time.
Yes.
Did you think that this was a space for you? I'd like you to share that with us, and then share more about this amazing man. May he rest in peace. May Allah grant him the highest stages of Jannah, inshallah.
So starting off my journey, computers was not even my top or second or third option. My first option, I wanted to be a chartered accountant just after completing matric. But my marks were not so good. And obviously, financial issues at home, not being able to afford to go to university. So what we did was I stayed at home and I was considering doing fashion designing, which was my second option. And I got disadvantaged because it's not my thing. I can't draw. Well, every shape, it's a drawing. That's what people say, and it's art. But when it came to coming to designing the dress on paper and sewing it, I just lost faith in it. And just after I completed my matric in 2015, I took a gap year dedicating it to my Islamic studies because I was the eldest student and he was the Amir of the masjid.
Okay.
And I completed my madrasa studies in my final year. The principal then was showing me just here and there on how to do some of the admin stuff just to ease his workload till he comes to the office. So I would do that. And one day he mentioned, "No, you look so good doing computers. Why don't you visit Siafunda?" I'm like, "Where is Siafunda?" That's when he said, "No, just when you leave the masjid, you turn left and then you walk down, you will see Siafunda. It's by the surgery."
Is this in Katlehong?
Yes, in
Okay,
Katlehong.
let's hold that thought. Inshallah, let's go for our first break, and when we get back, we'll talk some more. We are talking about an amazing organization started up by the late Smiley. That is how he was lovingly known. It's on the East Rand here in Johannesburg, just in around the corner from the masjid in Katlehong. It's a computer center, and of course, Faiza Xaba, who is in studio with us, is going to unpack more about this amazing learning opportunity for unemployed youth and disadvantaged communities. All of that and more right after the break. Welcome back. We're speaking with a dynamic young lady. She's in her mid-20s and already holds the title of Executive Managing Director at an organization called Siafunda. It's a non-profit based on the East Rand. It was started up, the founder of this amazing organization. I know him as Smiley, but Faiza is going to give us his full name. And he's done amazing work in that part of Gauteng. Let's hear more about what Siafunda is all about, the type of opportunities available for our young people, and inshallah, this is a growing organization. I think lots of youth have been through it already. Would you, off the top of your head, Faiza, tell us how many youth have been through Siafunda and what percentage of those youth are gainfully employed?
So at the top of my head, just to pick on one project that we actually closed off last year, which is our very famous flagship Africa Code Week, where we trained 100,000 youth on coding skills.
Across the entire year?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So across all 9 provinces in South Africa. And we also trained 7,000 teachers, introducing them to basic coding, just to show them that it's not overwhelming, but something that they can do as well, as part of them empowering themselves. And also, as we know, our schools are going into coding and robotics, and just to show them that it is possible. If a small child can do it, you can do it as well. And then we also have our program that we are accredited with MICT CETA, which is end user computing. We've trained, since COVID, our numbers dropped than our usuals because COVID gave us that hiccup that, closing the center and people prefer coming to the center face-to-face to attend the session. It then became a challenge. The classes got stopped. So for the year, we trained about 100 students, taking in 25 each quarter and 3 months. And at the top of my head, 10% of them, when we get in touch with them to share new programs, they're either working at the retail or they've started their own business, reselling. And it just goes to show that it's not only about starting to get employed. At this time of, in time of the economy, it's very rare for you to say, I'm going to get a job. But what you can do is empower yourself, become an entrepreneur. You can be a freelancer, offer your services, or you can start your own business, empower 2 to 3 people in your community, and you know that when they work for you, 3 people are able to put bread on their table. And this was always our late founder's mission to say it's not only about gaining employment, it's about bringing about change in the communities to the individual. I'm not saying Siafunda can do it for everyone, but we can work with various partners, various stakeholders in order for us to achieve this goal, because one man cannot do it. But together, through collaborations and partnership, we're able to do a lot.
For the benefit of our viewers this morning, give us Uncle Smiley's full name and how long ago is it that he had started Siafunda? And with him passing on, you've now taken on a huge role. Who are the other role players at Siafunda? But let's start with Uncle Smiley's full name.
So our late founding director's name was Mr. Ahmed Ismail. And Smile is because of his smiling nature. I can never say I've never seen him angry. Even when he's angry, he used to smile. And that's where the name Smiley came. And also the difficulty of people to say Ismail back in the day was difficult. So they would always just opt for saying Smiley. And it then became the nature of his name. When you get to someone and say, I'm looking for Ahmed Ismail, and everybody will be looking at you, and who's that? But when you say Smiley, everybody is able to recognize that. And
I understand he comes from a very strong technological background, and this is what he had to give back into the community. How long is it that Siafunda is up and running? How many years are you in operation?
Siafunda is a teenager.
Yeah?
We're about 19 years.
MashaAllah. Long enough. That's an amazing track record.
I started in 2006. So being in the IT space and seeing that how fast technology is growing and the need in our rural and township communities, which was the primary reasons for him to establish a Siafunda Center. It's to make it easy accessible to communities wherever they are. So you don't have to catch million taxis to get to the center and access training and then come back, and also looking at affordability because, like I mentioned, my journey, I couldn't go to university because I didn't have the finances to go. But I came to Siafunda, and today I sit with the number of certificates that I did through Siafunda. I'm a doctor.
Alhamdulillah. Do you find employment for the youth that come through your center as well? Because you don't want them coming there with the expectation, I'm doing this course or these courses, and I will be then placed in a job. What is it that you tell them, and what do you prepare them for regarding the real world or the real working world of work?
So at Siafunda, throughout the years since it was established, we haven't been placing youth at different companies because that is like our biggest challenge in South Africa. Like I mentioned, it's not easy for you to get employment, but what we do, we give them the skills and also we provide them with opportunities that are available out there that they can go into, and possibly with workplace experience or being employed after the program. So we're looking at it's still in the pipelines from last year, which we established through the Digital Equity Accelerator Program, where we had different mentors and technical expertise that guided us through this. And what they've brought to our attention is that you don't really have to go about partnering with companies, but there's certain organizations that work like the Yes for Youth, which was introduced by the president, where they get a stipend and they can be placed at different companies, easing the burden on organizations like Siafunda of paying those students. They get paid, they get trained, and they get workplace experience. It's not much, it's more of like a stipend just for them to be able to cover their basic needs. And from the experience, if the organization has a budget, we then take up those interns within the organization and give them a full-time job, depending also on the number of projects that we are working on.
Let's go back to the 100,000 people that you've taken through essential or beginners coding skills, etc. What do you believe they can do? Because not all of them will go into the IT space. As the MD of this company, which is very technologically driven, what do you believe they can do with those skills that they've acquired during they trained with you, coding and robotics?
So essentially, we actually, with the Africa Code Week, we used to do the African Code Challenge. So with the African Code Challenge is where they use the app called Scratch, and we give them a motto or a theme that they need to follow and code something regarding that. And for the closing of the program again last year, they had to code a small video game for 3 minutes and present it. And they had to tell on My Africa. And having to get students as young as 8 years old, they work in a team of 3 to 5 learners, and there's a mentor that helps them with any challenges they face. And they will tell you about the cultures. So it's not them going into more of like IT space, but they're also learning animation. They're also learning, getting to relax from hearing someone talk, but you being curious and trying something out. And those are what those programs initiate in the learners, because going to school, you're learning mathematics, English, and it's almost the same subjects throughout your grade 7 to grade 12. And they change grade 10 to 12, you're doing your own subjects. But most of them wish to do computers, but because of the requirements, it's not easy. Hence, they come to our centers and they learn variety of programs. There's one program where we do with the early childhood development centers, where we actually trained them, and I didn't know there was Chrome music. I just saw when I was going through the content, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was Chrome music. And they get to learn on how to play sounds. So even if they don't go into the IT space, someone can go be a piano player, looking at different cultures, different religions, different talents that people have. The sounds, the creativity that people come out with just from using a computer as young as 5 years old. It's amazing.
Let's move on to our next segment. We need to take an ad break and lots more to cover. We hope we have enough time for that. My guest is Executive Managing Director of an organization, NPO, let me add, Siafunda, based in Palm Ridge, Katlehong. And they have done amazing work over the past 19 years. This was started up by the late Smiley. Everyone lovingly used to refer to him as Smiley or Mr. Smiley. And this is an amazing NPO. They've truly made a difference in the lives of the, I'd say, unemployed and disadvantaged youth in our township. But it even goes beyond that. I know people from all around Gauteng and South Africa. They don't necessarily come from disadvantaged areas, but they too are afforded the opportunities simply because they are unemployed. So Siafunda then, gives them a hand up and gives them the opportunity of learning something in the IT space and hopefully make them more employable. So all of that and much more, much more coming up with Sister Faiza Xaba, who is the MD at Siafunda. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If you've tuned in this morning and if you're unemployed, if you've been battling to get a job, if you don't have skills, if you've been a dropout, or if you've just completed your matric and you just can't find anything meaningful to do or follow through as far as your career path is concerned, then please continue listening and watching very, very carefully, because inshallah, this might just be a situation where you could join Siafunda, and this will then lead to many doors opening and inshallah, job opportunities as well. What I have encompass that adequately by saying what I did just now?
Yes, it does. So Siafunda, like I mentioned, it was started or initiated by Mr. Smiley with the aim of empowering our communities, our youth, providing them access to various opportunities that they would have need to travel far for it. So currently, Siafunda is working on two major projects. We're just currently concluding a She Means Business program in partnership with Meta, where we train women entrepreneurs on how to use your WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram.
Wow, I need to sign up for that.
Definitely.
Technology goes over my head, I can tell you that.
So this has been like one of the biggest programs that our entrepreneurs look at. Remember when we got into COVID, businesses closing down
Yes.
and having to continue to operate. Take, for instance, someone that sells magwinya. They can still make magwinya and take orders on WhatsApp. So
Wow.
that is what we're introducing to everyone, every entrepreneur. They don't necessarily have to be female.
Okay, and I don't necessarily have to have an interest in computers. When I approach you at Siafunda to become a part or to be on that Meta program to learn computer skills, understand social media platforms, etc., or anyone else, any youth or even adults, senior citizens for that matter, listening to us this morning, watching us this morning, and thinking that I need to do something more, I need to get involved, and then I need to put back into the community. Could they then apply? What is the criteria and what are the costs involved? And how will you know? So I approach you and say, I need to do more with my life. I need to be more enhanced as far as my computer skills are concerned, or I need to put back in the community by passing on my skills to other youth. What is the criteria you'd follow to see if I do qualify, and are there then costs involved?
So when Siafunda was established, going back to why Mr. Smiley established Siafunda, as we know, we do have people that drop out of school, and or some are unfortunate to be able to complete their school up until matric. So we don't have heavy requirements where you need a matric or you need to have a certain degree or qualification, because that is us putting a barrier or posing a barrier to say that, no, we cannot take Auntie Julie because she's over 35. I'm not sure if you're 35.
Let's leave it there. And she is employed, so she doesn't qualify.
So we cater for all age groups, anyone that is working, not working, whether you completed school or not, because at the end of the day, what matters is that willingness for you to empower yourselves with skills. Technology has no grade or level.
Let's look at the question from a different viewpoint. Undoubtedly, you have lots of applications because this is a service you're offering, and I think people would be really daft not to take up the opportunity, whether they're going to find employment or not. So it leads me to believe that you are inundated with applications. How do you then decide who you should be taking on? How do you kind of sift through your applications and say, I'm taking this 10 and I'm not taking those 10. These 100 qualify, those 100 do not qualify. What's that criteria looking like?
So in terms of our various programs, I remember one time we had a student that was very keen to come and learn with us. And unfortunately, they don't have the funds, but they could only pay registration fees in order for them to study the computer course with us. And Mr. Smiley said, let them pay that 500 rand that they can pay and don't send them back, because you don't know what role you play in that person's life.
Wow.
You could be the change of that person, because if you send that person back because they don't know how to write English, or they don't know how to read, or they don't know how to do anything, then you sending back that one person, adding on to our unemployed youth. And I was just looking at the stats last week when we were just planning on different activities, and South Africa is like number one with the highest youth unemployment rate, running at 50%. So hence we cut off the requirements. Yes, people come in. So we've got paid programs. We've got bursary programs. So bursary programs, we sponsor students that completed matric. So we'll be taking our second intake after June, where they only just pay a commitment fee of 500 rand, just for them to say, I'm committing to start and finish this program.
Right, right.
And they paid off in installments. And in that 3 months, they learn your IT, get introduction to various other careers, because it's not only just about fixing the computer. We've got networking now. We've seen there's fiber installations happening, and they need your network technicians. That's where we come in. We also have artificial intelligence. We have a partnership with HP, HP Inc., and they provided us with a program called HP Life, which covers different spheres and also open to entrepreneurs. Those programs are for free, and they can visit any of our network of community partners based in rural and township communities, and they can access a computer, internet, and they just study the program and empower themselves.
Okay, so let's ask this question. If you are inundated with applications, you can't take everybody on. What do you do in a situation like that? How do you sift through and decide that this is the 100 we're going to take, these, the balance we can't entertain, unfortunately, due to the huge numbers?
So it also depends on the different programs that they are registering for. So for our basic programs like your end user computing, your IT classes, your cybersecurity, your networking, those ones, unfortunately, we don't send them back, because from our side we don't have requirements. But for partner programs, like we've got currently we're running the IBM program, which is a project-based learning, where we are tasking all the youth with computer literacy, because obviously in there you'll be working with Excel and different other applications, and you need to have knowledge on that. Then on there, based on your qualifications, you then get accepted into the program. So those are our partner programs. We are also running a program called Educate to Employ with the SAP software company, not the police. So this program, it's more for those that are looking for employment. So they go through a 6 to 12 months program, and in there...
And costs for that 6 to 12 month program?
It's for free.
And who vets or who screens the person to decide that he or she will make it on this program? Because you can't take anybody or everybody
yes.
on board. So there has to be a criteria, and what would that look like?
So the criteria for this one, basic one, you need to be dedicated for the program, and you need to also have some knowledge on different, because it's 4 career paths that they're looking at. There's logistics, there's end user support, and there's also a developer, and I forgot the 4th one. So with that, the program itself comes with vetting. So you do your biometric assessment, it's just filling in your personal details, and then you've got the aptitude test. So the aptitude test is the one that decides whether you make it through the program. The advantage of this program, what I love about it, is that if you don't pass the aptitude test, they don't just turn you back. But what they do, they've partnered with Umuzi, which then provides them the opportunity to go and study something that works according to the career paths, something with front-end development or developing a website. And once they're done with the Umuzi, so they study either with Coursera or Meta.
Are there any costs involved there?
No, there are no costs. So everything is covered for by SAP. And at the end of the program, they choose the top 25 students that are going to be employed with either SAP or SAP clients.
Alhamdulillah. And those students that don't qualify or are not necessarily the top students, I should imagine you'll say that whatever they learned, even though they were not the top students, they've still gained a skill which they can put into practice at some point in their lives.
Yes.
But believe it or not, it's time for our next ad break. And whilst we go for that ad break, we are going to then be wrapping up with Faiza. When we come back, we're going to talk lots more to her about the wonderful opportunities involved, how you can apply, where they're located, if you're very far away from the center in Palm Ridge, what are the options for you? Or let's assume you're out of the Gauteng area. How do you then access all of these amazing programs, whether it's going to allow you an employment opportunity or just allow you an interest to get you off the street corner, and when you come back home, at least you have some self-esteem, I should imagine, because if you've gone through a course like this, apart from the hard skills that you have managed to gain, it just boosts your self-esteem and you feel better within yourself and about yourself, alhamdulillah. So let's go for that break and be back with you in a minute or two, inshallah. Welcome back, and in the next 12 minutes, we're going to be wrapping up with Faiza Xaba, Managing Director at Siafunda, a non-profit. And I'm just amazed at the opportunities available for people, not only young people, but even older people who are possibly unemployed or just want to do something very useful with their life, just to get an added skill. Here is the ideal opportunity. What we need to now understand is those people outside of the catchment area, how do they then access all of these amazing opportunities? What do you say to that, Faiza?
So when Siafunda was established in 2006, we had our main branch, which is our headquarters based in Palm Ridge, and we saw the need in other communities. So Siafunda has established a network of community partners, which are known as the Community Knowledge Centers. So they offer the same programs that we offer at their centers in different areas.
Give us examples of areas in Johannesburg, in and around Johannesburg.
So we've got a partner that is based in Cullinan, Pretoria side. Yeah. We've got a partner based in Randburg, Cosmo City. They're based inside Cosmo City Multipurpose Center. We've got one center that is based at Esangweni Taxi Rank. Easy accessible. You get off the taxi rank, you go into class, you come out. We've got partners that are based in Limpopo, KZN, only the Western Cape. We haven't really had a hub, but we have a project manager or our program runner in the area. Whenever there's like outreach programs or initiatives, she's always keen and does our programs that side. But we've got footprints almost everywhere, and we are looking at expanding our footprints with the help of Almighty Allah and different stakeholders and partners that can come through and join hands with us.
We do know that Mr. Smiley was the brains of this organization. May he rest in peace. He's not around. Who are the other stakeholders that will ensure that Siafunda not only continues but grows by leaps and bounds?
So we've got a junior Mr. Smiley, which is like almost his photocopy. He was trained very well. We've got Samir, who's also an executive director. He deals more with your funding applications, your grant applications, and other stakeholders. And I deal with stakeholders as well, managing the center. And then we also have our executive managers. One is Abubakar Johannes Pule, who manages our technical STEM and 4IR center. And we also have our other executive manager, Tabiso Naleli, and he deals more with like outreach programs and more of teacher training programs.
Okay, so what about the situation of, you have schools who are interested in wanting to get maximum benefit out of the courses that you're offering? Do you then go out to those schools and I should like to think it's not only in the disadvantaged communities, but you go to any school that applies to be part of your program, or do you then pick schools that you believe you'd like to go to?
So initially we started with picking schools that we'd like to go to, but now we're seeing that the rolling out of coding and robotics, and some schools feel like they're a bit delayed or it's taking time, so they come and reach out to us, and we then set up a schedule with them to say, our team is available to come to your school and conduct the training, or alternative, we train a dedicated teacher in the school that is going to continue with the programs if they do have devices. So cases where we go to the school, it's a case where the school doesn't have devices, but they are keen on running the program. So we are very mobile instead of just being at the center. So we take our equipment, we go to the school, we dedicate that 1 or 2 hours per day, given the slots that the school gives us, and we go there, we train the school and then come back. Same thing with the early childhood development centers. Initially, we used to just pick a center, but last year we did one with an ECD center that is based within our premises, and we used to do computer classes with them every week. And this year we've adopted another ECD school where we've just recently started just before the passing of Mr. Smiley. And it's an ongoing relationship. So people are seeing that, oh, this ECD center is offering computer classes and there's no need for them to have devices. And we've got a team that is dedicated to deal with children. So they go out, do the training. There's different types of programs that is done with. You must be wondering, how does a small child at the Early Childhood Development Center know about a computer? So there's different programs. There's Unplugged, where they work with a B-bot. It's a very cute bot. They just click on buttons to say, I need to get to that flower pot there, and you just code for it and move it from here to there. Simple. And we just guide them through that. We take them through your basic skills, your keyboard skills, and kids do wonders. When I say they do wonders, they're very creative. So we are open to them or the schools reaching out to Siafunda. And we also do recruitment of schools around us for us to empower their learners with different programs. So for those that are around us, if the school, because, there's like bit of restrictions in terms of you cannot do anything apart from school learning during school hours. So we open our centers as hubs where the learners can come to our centers after school and go through any of the training programs. So we've got programs that are dedicated for school learners.
What about school holidays? Parents are often at loose ends, not knowing how to keep the kids entertained. Have you actually programmed special types of initiatives and activities for the school children during the holidays to keep them involved, but in the process, upskill them as well?
Yes, so we do our school holiday program. So every term, we do a school holiday program. So we're currently planning for our second term school holiday program, which involves more of your leadership, coding, and also building some of the muscles or losing a little bit of fat, including some exercises that they can get through, because it's not just only about learning how to code, learning how to use a computer, learning all the different programs that we're taking them through, but also building their confidence, building teamwork, because
so you're saying you also involved in soft skills training. Yes. That was in fact my next question to you. Talk to us more about that.
So soft skills, it's funny enough, I'm here on the interview. I'm very talkative, but very shy. So, but it's a bonus somewhere, because sometimes you get to keep quiet, and some other places you just have to talk. And through our programs, we do have like a dedicated training program just to train you on soft skills, preparing you on how your job readiness, presenting yourself, presentation skills, how do you stand in front of a crowd and present that. And within our programs, we also challenge our students to build, because we've got different types of students. We've got an introvert, extrovert, and some introverts, they're talkative, but they just prefer being alone or in their comfort zone. So we break those barriers, and at the end of the program, the quietest student, the one you thought was an introvert, becomes the most extrovert students, and they just busy. So it's us empowering them in all spheres, not just computer skills, but also being able to present yourself. Because I always tell our students that when you present yourself, like coming on the show, my name is Faiza, and nobody would hear me. I am a brand, and I need to present myself. How I present myself would then determine where I go. And that is what we always tell the student, that when you project yourself in a way that if a stakeholder had to come in and there's an employment opportunity, they would say, I want Julie to come with me today. Just because you don't have the skills, but just because of the way you portray yourself.
With confidence, alhamdulillah. Okay, I think we're almost at the end of the show. How do people get in touch with you, and what does the future look like for you, Faiza Xaba and Siafunda?
I'll take the toughest one first. So with the responsibility that Mrs. Smiley has left with us, before he left and giving us that 4-year opportunity where he was not micromanaging us, I have full confidence that myself and my team will still continue with the journey a journey of the legacy that Mrs. Smiley has left behind, continue to empower the communities, continue to walk in his footsteps, and we just request for everyone's prayers and guidance from the Almighty that He takes us through and walks us through this journey, because we want to empower the community. And how they can get in touch with us, we are available on a WhatsApp line, which is 067 011 8748. And they can follow us on social media as well at Siafunda Community Technology Center.
You're an amazing young lady holding a huge title of Executive Managing Director at Siafunda. Undoubtedly, you're going to be continue touching many, many lives through this program, through this legacy left behind by Mr. Smiley, and just upkeep his legacy by putting all your heart and soul into Siafunda. Let it not disappear. It's serving a huge purpose in our community. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your efforts, inshallah.
Amen.
And that's all we have time for. Thank you indeed for being with us for the past hour. And if you are someone who needs upskilling and employment opportunity, or if you know of someone who is in a space and not sure what to do with their lives, get in touch with Siafunda, because from there you can just grow, and not stop growing, inshallah. Thank you for being with us on the show this morning. Till next week at the same time, as always, Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.